Donald Trump is just getting played right now by Governor Gavin Newsom. He is so stupid, and he is showing it to all of us because in this moment of weakness, Donald Trump's back up against the wall. He is flailing and puffing himself up, trying to appear strong, but it is only making him fall that much harder. And because of that, Donald Trump is attacking Gavin Newsom not just with arrest threats, but with an insane post that got even worse after Gavin Newsom responded with some breaking news. We're going to get into this very important story, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way in supporting the work that we are doing here. Now, before we can get into all of what is happening, we have to start with a press conference happening right now that Donald Trump started by attacking Gavin Newsom in.
We've had some exciting days in the last week, I would say, mostly good. Some of the things you're reading about in Los Angeles, thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped, and a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do anything, and we sent out the troops, and they've done a fantastic job. So I want to thank them very much.
Donald Trump has absolutely no idea what he is talking about. Again, his back is up against the wall because he knows his bill is on thin ice. His boyfriend and Elon Musk has turned on him, and even his own MAGA supporters are starting to turn on Donald Trump. The head of Latinas for Trump said this deportation plan is not what they voted for, which, spare me the tears, it is what you voted for, and now you are finding out. Not that I want you to. That's why we wanted to elect Kamala Harris, who, by the way, was criticized for saying Donald Trump would sic the military on civilians. But guess who was right all along? What a shock. Not to some of us, though, but what is important right now is how we respond. It is how we respond. And Gavin Newsom is responding in a way that's clearly infuriating Trump. He announced that he is suing his administration in this post right here. Newsom wrote, "We are suing Donald Trump. This is a manufactured crisis. He is creating fear and terror to take over a state militia and violate the U.S. Constitution. The illegal order he signed could allow him to send the military into any state he wishes. Every governor, red or blue, should reject this outrageous outreach. There's a lot of hyperbole out there. This isn't that. This is an unmistakable step towards authoritarianism that threatens the foundation of our republic, and we cannot let it stand." This is the energy that we need right now. Gavin Newsom is hitting back against Donald Trump. I am so glad to see it, especially because it drives Trump absolutely crazy. He is losing his mind, and we saw that during the press conference that he just had, in which he is now threatening directly to arrest Gavin Newsom. We're going to check it out, and then we're going to take a look at the insane post I talked about at the beginning of this video, which only got worse for Trump after what Newsom just went public with.
Come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I was Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it's a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems?
Oh,
Are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
After Trump made that shocking threat against Gavin Newsom, Newsom tweeted out in response saying the President of the United States just called for the arrest of a sitting governor. This is a day I hoped I would never see in America. I don't care if you are a Republican or a Democrat. This is a line we cannot cross as a nation. This is an unmistakable step towards authoritarianism. I am glad that Gavin Newsom continues to hit at this point. These are steps towards authoritarianism that Donald Trump is trying to take. That was the whole inception for sending ICE in, sending the National Guard in, calling in Marines in the first place. Donald Trump wants to create unrest. That is what LAPD said, that Donald Trump is trying to create a stir. Donald Trump is trying to blow this out of proportions. Donald Trump is trying to instigate when the protests were peaceful and they were righteous because they were standing up to an invasion of their community. And that is what Gavin Newsom continues to say, that Donald Trump is attacking our fundamental freedoms. And it is why Donald Trump is losing it so badly. And it's the reason for his latest post, which immediately blew up in his face after what Gavin posted next. We're going to take a look at both of these posts. Trump wrote, "If they spit, we will hit." This is a statement from the President of the United States concerning the catastrophic Gavin Newsom-inspired riots going on in Los Angeles. The insurrectionists have a tendency to spit in the face of the National Guardsmen, women, and others. These patriots are told to accept this. It's just the way life runs. But not in the Trump administration. If they spit, we hit. And I promise you, they will be hit harder than they have ever been hit before. Such disrespect will not be tolerated. Well, Gavin Newsom responded to that insane post, pointing out the disrespect of Trump, writing, "This is how Donald Trump treats his troops. Disgraceful. The troops, whose makeshift quarters are shown in these photographs exclusively obtained by the Chronicle, arrived without federal funding for food, water, fuel, equipment, or lodging," said the source, who is granted confidentiality under Chronicle policies. This person said state officials and the California National Guard were not to blame. This is what happens when the president and Pete Hegseth demand the National Guard state assets deploy immediately with no plan in place and no federal funding available for food, water, fuel, and lodging, the source said. This is really the failure of the federal government. If you're going to federalize troops, then take care of them. Donald Trump doesn't even care about the troops that he sent in. These are not people that Donald Trump holds in high regard. This is a man who has always looked down upon men and women who have served this country. Donald Trump had no plan. He just wanted to create unrest. He just wanted to create problems. He just wanted to create a spectacle. And he continued to do so in this wild press conference, losing his mind. Just take a look at his rant about water.
Work out that way. We'll soon find out. Yeah, please.
When you were talking about unrest in American cities, you said, quote, "We have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor." What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about, he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening, and they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way, and he said, "Well, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed. You saw what was happening." So we did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. I sent billions of gallons of water. I wanted to do it in the first term. He wouldn't do it over, I don't know, they have environmental reasons, but there were no environmental reasons. I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much. Yeah, please.
Have you gotten...
Trump is clearly out of his mind. He has no idea what he's saying. It is just these strange ramblings that go to show how disturbed our president is and why it is so important that we actually, in this moment, as Republicans always talk about, fight for state rights, because Donald Trump wants to control the entire country with his broken brain, and we just can't let him, especially as he lets his mass thugs attack peaceful protesters without any accountability, as Jamie Raskin called out in this video right here.
Even ICE and the Department of Homeland Security recognize that, quote, "any member of Congress has the right to show up for an inspection at one of our facilities in their oversight capability." Mr. Hauser, is that the general policy that you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. ICE has also, along with lots of other parts of the administration, has been repudiated by the federal judiciary, including the Supreme Court. There are now more than 160 preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders that have been entered by federal judges, Republican appointees, Democratic appointees against a reign of lawlessness and complete disregard for the Constitution. President Trump has had to be instructed to bring back a man who the Department of Justice admitted had been deported due to an administrative error. He was sent to a torturer's prison in El Salvador due to what they confessed was administrative error. Do you agree that ICE has been violating the law repeatedly over the last few months?
Sir, I would say the administration and the White House has been directing lawless action.
The U.S. Supreme Court even had to issue an emergency order at 1 in the morning on April 19th to stop an unlawful attempt by the administration to conduct a mass deportation of Venezuelans without any due process whatsoever. They told them to turn the vans and the buses around. There had been no hearings, no opportunity to be represented, no opportunity to hear even the charges against them, no court orders. And just this last Friday, the Supreme Court upheld this ban on deportations, reaffirming once again that every immigrant in the country is entitled to due process. The two most beautiful words in the English language. It's due process that separates our rights and freedoms from arbitrary power by the state. And if you have a single libertarian bone in your body, you will understand what due process is all about. Now, why is congressional oversight important, Mr. Hauser, if the courts are there as a backstop against lawlessness by an executive branch?
Sir, Congress's role, especially in immigration enforcement, is extremely critical for just the simple fact that we have tens of thousands of human beings in custody. And their care and the carrying out of our public safety and our law enforcement operations need critical oversight and accountability.
So when you were chief of staff at ICE, how many congressional delegations would you say happened at ICE facilities?
Hundreds, sir. And as we've all talked about, we saw large demands and migratory flow to the border. We were dealing with bipartisan, visits continuously week after week.
These were Democrats and Republicans
Yes,
together coming to visit. So there's nothing strange about members of Congress doing it. Both parties have done it, right?
We have to continue to fight back, and we have to continue to talk about the distraction that Donald Trump is trying to create. We are going to be doing so on this show, and I think independent media is more important than ever right now. So if you want to support what we're doing, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.